to Talking Weird. And now, from a cabin deep in the Northwoods, your hosts, Dr. Dean Bertram and Jen Durrell.
Hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
1 week out from the 6th annual MidWest WeirdFest.
I know. It's
This
exciting.
time in a week, it is exciting. We'll be in the Micon Cinema in Downtown Eau Claire, watching a plethora of amazing films with a bunch of incredibly talented filmmakers who are coming in, and our ever-growing and incredibly loyal audience in Eau Claire. And I have to give credit. It was your idea to do this show again tonight. I was like, what guest are we going to book? And you're like, why aren't we just talking about the festival? And I'm like, that's a good point. Why aren't we just talking about the festival?
Well, that way they can see the trailers. And...
Yeah. So I think that's what we're going to do, right? You're just going to guide us through the program of the 6th annual MidWest WeirdFest. And people, of course, can go and look at MidWestWeirdFest.com and check out there's the trailer links, information, and ticketing stuff there as well. But tonight, if they want to come on a journey with us, they can get a guided tour from the festival directors through what this year is going to look like.
Okay, so you want me to go ahead and...
We want to kick off with... let's kick off with the opening night film, I guess. We'll talk about it afterwards, which is 6 p.m. Micon Downtown this coming Friday night, March 4. It's the film Crabs. Yeah. So we have the trailer. Why don't we screen that? It's a fantastic, hilarious film. We'll chat about it a little bit after the trailer.
Let me get that a second.
And the director is coming in for that film, which is fantastic news. Piers Berelsheimer. He's the writer and the director. He'll be coming to present and to Q&A an awful lot of the films this year, as we'll talk about as we go through, have cast and crew coming to chat about the film afterwards. And that's one of the most fantastic things I think about the festival is how many filmmakers we get there, get to have that immediate engagement with the audience. So when you come to MidWest WeirdFest, it's just not like going to a Cineplex. You actually get to...
I have too many tabs open. That's my problem.
That's okay.
Okay.
Let's watch the Crabs trailer.
Babe, you gotta take a picture with this.
Just be quick.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, lunchtime, my classmates.
Hi, Radu.
All available units. We have a 19243. A dead whale washed up with a nasty slice in its belly.
Oh, sure as hell wasn't no shark in there.
Yeah, I'm guessing not.
Something's out there. That's for damn sure.
Mister, you all right?
Yes.
Reports are coming in from fishermen all along the coast.
What are these things? Some unknown species of crabs.
I've never seen a 6-foot-tall crab.
We need to call the army. And tell them what? That we're being attacked by man-eating crabs?
We have to stop them.
So these perfectly adapted animals are now supercharged.
And what can stop something so jacked up?
Another perfectly evolved predator.
Let's do this.
Fantastic film. That's what it looks like. And over the top monster movie. And it's just the perfect way to open a festival. And again, the director, Pierce M. Berolzheimer, I've got to get used to pronouncing Pierce's name for the Q&A. Pierce M. Berolzheimer will be in attendance, which will be absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And you haven't seen Crabs yet. I know you've seen some of them. I don't think you've
No.
watched Crabs yet. Is that right?
No, I haven't. I haven't watched it yet.
Well, you can sit in on opening night. It'll be all the more fun.
I've got to turn
Is there
something off here.
Problem? Are you okay?
Yeah. Sorry. You can't hear
well,
it, so that's good.
I wouldn't worry.
I had
too much
another
about
movie going on in
it.
my ear, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm lost.
Oh my goodness. That's the
Yeah.
problem with having too many.
It's still
tabs
doing
open.
it. That's
Well,
nice.
let's
I
stop-
won't have to deal with that.
Oh well. See if
Sorry.
you can stop it.
I got it to stop.
Can we roll into the 8 o'clock on a Friday?
easy.
Woodland Grey.
Yes, we can.
Excellent.
Just get that one. Hopefully.
Yeah, Woodland Grey's a wonderfully creepy and beautifully shot and some incredible performances. It's just a dark, weird, strange horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the audience at MidWest WeirdFest are
Oh.
going to really enjoy this.
Definitely going to like it.
I'm not sure if the director Adam Ryder's coming in. There was talk about him coming in, maybe.
Mhm. Okay.
I don't know how long I've been here, but I saw it. I don't know why I came, but it tortures me. I built that shit. All I know is that when it's inside there, it leaves me alone. I know that doesn't sound rational. I know that. I don't even know if you're real. Are you?
Are you at all curious what this is?
What I know is in constant flux.
This is impossible. This is my grandfather's.
I took this piece and I placed it in his coffin myself.
Oh, it's not real. It's not real. It's not real. Grandpa.
I need you to show me the way out of the woods.
I'm seeing things.
Never worked for me. Maybe better luck for you.
You're gonna be blindfolded because I can't have you direct people back here because of something you think that you saw.
What are you doing?
Don't move. Put your hands down. Put your hands down.
I see.
I know this makes me look like I'm a bad man. But I'm not. Not for this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. I've heard a few comments from people saying that my video's choppy. That's the glory of doing a video stream when you live in a cabin in the woods. Usually it's okay, but tonight apparently my rural internet is sucky. I hope people can hear me even if I'm freezing. A little bit about Woodland Grey, which is as you can probably tell, it's a terrifying and dark and very cryptic film. It's something I really enjoyed, but it's also playing with the short film Monsters Are Real, which is directed by Ron Hufstadter. Now, Ron's coming in for When Monsters Are Real, which is an incredible short film, also with a fairly heavy woodland component, very different to Woodland Grey, but also equally disturbing. But both of those films are, one of the producers is John Fallon. I've played films from John Fallon since I was running a night of horror in the early days in Sydney, Australia. So it's great to have a couple movies that John Fallon, who's runs Arrow in the Head, which is part of the Joe Blow family. In fact, we've also got a short film or a short web series from another Joe Blow property, I guess, and that's from the Paranormal Network, which is Mandy the Haunted Doll, which is part of the We Want to Believe web series. So that's something that we're playing, directed by Jason Hewlett. That plays later in the Paranormal Shorts, which I'm sure we will get to. Anyway, this year at MidWest WeirdFest, as we've expanded, sometimes the audience are going to have to face that dilemma, which often comes at a larger film festival. And that is, what film are they going to watch? Because at 10 o'clock on the Friday night, 10 p.m. Friday, March 4, we have two amazing films. We have Light Ships from John Harrigan, who's been on this show a number of times, an incredible occult or magical ritual director who imbibes his films with, or imbues his films rather, with all kinds of esoteric messaging. And I mean, I know I certainly went on somewhat of a subconscious trip myself when I watched that movie. I felt it really affecting my brain state. But we're also playing a film from a festival alumni we've played twice before. At MidWest WeirdFest, we played The Deep Ones last year, and we played The Chair a couple of years before. Chad Ferrin. I've also programmed some of Chad's films at festivals in Australia. Chad, I think, is one of the most interesting directors working in the horror thriller, speculative type genres today. And I think Nightcaller, which we're screening at 10 p.m. opposite Light Ships, is probably my favorite work of his yet. It's a crime noir, come giallo slasher serial killer film. It's very dark, hilarious in moments, as sometimes Ferrin's work is. Definitely worth seeing as well. So I wouldn't want to have to be an audience member making that choice, but you've got two amazing films at 10 on the Friday night to choose from. So since I just spoke about Nightcaller, why don't we play Chad's trailer first, and then we can come back to Light Ships.
Hang on a second. Which one?
Unless you have unless you have Light Ships. If you have Light Ships ready to go,
I think I have it up
you've
because
got ready.
Yeah, hang on a second.
Okay. Yeah, let's do John Harrigan's incredible film Light Ships, based on the writings of UFO contactee Marianne Ryder. This was one of the very first films I saw when programming the festival this year.
Did you ever think that you'd end up here? None of us did. The future looks like the end of the world. It is not.
Open your heart, Eve, and receive the treatment this facility offers us all.
Would you go into the treatment room if I told you your son was inside?
The Black Iron Prison has us within its grasp.
I don't believe their lies anymore. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. The time has come for you to know who you are.
Fantastic. I think John Harrigan's probably one of the most interesting directors working today, period. There aren't many people who are doing the type of work he is, which is actually, I don't know if there's anybody really who's using film as a type of magical process to attain the type of effects that he does in that movie. Just an incredible film. As is Nightcaller, although it's a very different film. It's certainly something which I think fans of giallo movies and serial killer films and the like are not going to miss. So do you want to play Chad Ferrin's latest film? And I think his greatest film yet. And I've been a fan of Chad's, like I said, for years. And if anybody who's watching is a regular attendee of the festival, feel free to drop us a comment and ask any questions or make any comments about the films you're really looking forward to watching at the festival.
Little man, you're crying. I know why you're blue. Someone took your kitty car away.
My name is Clementine. I'll be giving you your reading this evening.
What do you see, darling Clementine?
Danger. I saw a murder.
Which you confirmed how?
By having a seance.
A seance. Communicate with spirits. ESP.
Brought them to a house in the valley where they found parts of the girl's body. The killer had dismembered her just moments before we arrived.
Little man, you had a busy day. Make Daddy proud.
Something actually that I thought about when I just watched that trailer, it reminded me about the film, is there's a number of films at the festival this year, including Nightcaller, that do a wonderful job of evoking previous periods in cinema or in history. Like Nightcaller is set in, I think, the present. There's certainly cell phones in it, but it feels like it's a film from the 1970s. It feels like a crime drama / giallo from the 70s.
Yeah,
Which is
that's a good trailer
which is
too.
fantastic. Steve Dayton, it is a great trailer. Steve Dayton, whose film we're just about to talk about, actually, just commented, "We're about to talk about Give, Steve," and he said Nightcaller looks awesome. It is. It's a fantastic film. And Steve Dayton's film's awesome as well, which is Give. Is that what we're up to now in the program? Let me see. No, we're going to talk about the documentary. Before that, well, there's the shorts programs. I don't know how we want to talk about the shorts programs. How do you want to deal with that, Jen? You're driving the boat tonight.
Here, let me get to that page real quick.
Okay, well, at 12 p.m. the next day is the first of so 12 p.m. Saturday, March 5 is the first of the sessions. 4 short film blocks. There's also short films playing before a lot of the features, but we have 4 separate short film blocks, all of different themes, and often usually dealing with films of a specific genre or type. And on Saturday at 12 p.m. we have Paranormal Visions, which is a mix of paranormal themed either experimental or narrative films, but also documentaries. I don't know what trailer you're playing now, just to cue me.
It's not a trailer.
Oh, you're showing the program. Awesome. Okay, so we can go down and we can look at them together. So the first off the bat is Love You in the Morning, which is this spectacular, very evocative, moving music video, which I included in the program there because I know it really made me think about the way we touch each other's lives, sometimes even after death and beyond. Of course, following that, we have Tilos or Bust from Brad Abrahams, who we had on as a guest a few weeks ago. I suggest people to go back and watch that episode of Talking Weird, where we talk extensively about that documentary, which is essentially Brad investigating people who live near or around Mount Shasta in California, and they believe that there's kind of an underground city or paradise there called Tilos. Pattern Recognition is a fantastic experimental film dealing with, as it suggests, patterns and powers beyond us and life after death. There is Mandy following the haunted doll, which is from Jason Hewlett, whose short documentary last time, I think, what did it win last year? It won an award like short documentary, or I think it won short documentary at the festival last year. Anyway, he had another film last year that won with this, and Jason's films play on the Paranormal Network or his television series, and Mandy the Haunted Doll is one of the latest episodes from that series of We Want to Believe. And then The Man from Boggy Creek, which is about Charles Pierce, the director of Boggy Creek and The Town That Dreaded Sundown, amongst other films. It's a fascinating documentary about a fascinating, often overlooked filmmaker. Zone of Silence is about a mysterious area in Mexico, which has all kinds of paranormal phenomenon reported there. And Landing is just a wonderful film about what it suggests, a UFO landing. And closing out that session, we have Not Alone, The Life Above, which I was actually only talking to the director on the phone for the first time. Actually, I'd emailed him because he'd submitted the film, but we spoke just yesterday, and that's Scott Deshane. And Not Alone, The Life Above presents just fantastically the idea that perhaps UFO sightings, or at least some of them, aren't extraterrestrial craft or craft from our government or anything supernatural, that it might actually be some type of entities, the UFO shapes themselves, that live within our atmosphere. So some of these shapes that people see might be biological entities. And I think that it makes a pretty convincing case. I'm not sure if I don't think even Scott would say it covered all aspects of the UFO phenomena, but it certainly covers that aspect. So yeah, that's the paranormal shorts. That's the paranormal shorts. I just got a Facebook message from another director we'll be talking about in a minute as well. Noah Mucci of Lunamancer.
I have Tilos or Bust up if you want me to play that one. That's up to you.
The trailer for it, you mean? Or
yeah.
Yeah, sure. We can play the trailer for that. And then let's go straight into the history of metal and horror.
Okay. Get that full screen.
And again, I would encourage anybody who's interested in this film to go back and check out the interview with Brad Abrahams on Talking Weird from a couple of weeks ago, because we go quite into depth on this and his other films. We're also playing another short film of his.
I'm in Mount Shasta, right?
I am the presence of Archangel Michael sweeping forth throughout the earth.
Well, let me put it this way. All planets are hollow, with ascended beings living inside the planet.
The great thing about Mount Shasta is you can be as nutty as possible. There's still other people that are going to be crazier.
The term that people have applied to Mount Shasta as a vortex of energies, of interdimensional portals, of UFO contactees. And then you have the Telos myth.
What is Tilos?
Telos is the inner earth city that is underneath Mount Shasta. I take people into Telos through inner earth entrances that I've discovered.
When Lemuria sank, only 25,000 people were able to make it into Telos. They had gained their immortality. They learned the futility of war.
There's no prisons in Telos. There's no depression in Telos.
You would say that you were in paradise.
Did you feel the tremendous love that is in the city of Telos?
I did not feel any love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was Brad's trailer, obviously, for Slam Dance, which
Yeah.
I also played it. And I think Brad is a documentarian who handles the unusual and the weird and the paranormal very objectively. I think
Mm-hmm.
he lets the audience make their mind up. He did the feature documentary Love and Sources, which I think's on Amazon
Yes.
Prime or is on Tubby. I
Mhm.
watched it somewhere recently before the interview I did with him anyway, which is also worth checking out. So why don't we roll into, in fact, before we do, I'll say this. We had several horror film documentaries submitted to the festival this year. They were all wonderful. They were all totally captivating, but there was something about this documentary, The History of Metal and Horror, that I just could not play. It's fantastic. It has, as you'll see in the trailer, everybody from John Carpenter to Tom Savini to all kinds of heavy metal artists, and it essentially talks about the merging of those two, well, that music genre and that film genre, metal and horror. And it's loaded with clips from various films and commentary from, again, all the luminaries of both of those genres you could imagine. So let's have a look at that trailer.
Okay. Play.
What is the history of metal and horror? Let's find out.
I have no idea why I did that.
I think what makes effective horror is that it registers the anxiety of the humans that are watching it. That's what horror does best.
My favorites by far, if any.
Sorry.
Everybody knows me, it's a Universal Monsters. That's my whole life.
My mom took me to see the original Jaws when I was really young, and it scarred me for life.
The first VHS tape I ever had was Dawn of the Dead, and I would just let it play over and over all day long. I must have watched it thousands of times.
The movie that affected me the most was Salem's Lot.
Hellraiser is another massive, great film, and I remember watching that for the first time and being totally blown away with it.
It's human, it's not human, and then there's this little matter of having a whole bunch of nails banged into your head. Sounds like a crazy idea.
The movie Ghoulies were on. I was obsessed with that show. It didn't seem that different to me, the Bugs Bunny to the Frankenstein. Like, it really was a natural kind of thing.
Of course, like most kids, I was watching cartoons on Saturdays, but I was also watching horror movies.
Captain Spaulding triggered the rebellious nature of people, and that is kind of the attitude that goes along with metal and horror.
Black Sabbath was a Boris Karloff film, right? You know, that's where they got the name from the film, and they combined it with heavy music, and that's how heavy metal was born.
You had people on one hand doing horror music, and you had people on the other hand doing horror film, and then somewhere in the middle where these two circles crossed, you had a hybrid.
I use the music, a lot of metal music, for listening to in between violent scenes. It just helps my energy.
I still get goosebumps when the skeleton comes up and starts saying, "Do you want a party?" It was like, okay, now chaos is going to ensue.
For years and years, I've been a fan of Metallica. I just think they're awesome.
I know there are people out there who love horror. I know there are people who love heavy metal. And I know there are people who love both. I'm reaching out to those people and saying, hey, man, I'm into it too. And I got a lot of cool stuff. You can just come over and check it out.
Horror and metal really became co-defendants in the Satanic Panic scandal.
Rock and roll is the devil, and horror is the devil too. So it's perfectly natural.
Metal and horror, a perfect match.
And Michael Berryman, that quintessential horror character from such greats as The Hills Have Eyes, narrates it, which makes it all the more fantastic. Now, that also plays at 12 p.m. on Saturday, March 5 at the Micon Downtown Cinemas. So audiences are going to have to choose whether to check out Paranormal Visions or check out the history of metal and horror. Now, following those two films, I think now we should talk about, because we teased a little bit about it before, we should talk about Steve Dayton's incredible feature film Give, which plays at 2 p.m. Give is actually a local film. It was made in the area surrounding Eau Claire. Steve Dayton is an Eau Claire filmmaker. This is the first feature film we've ever screened from somebody who lives in the immediate area of the festival. Steve, I didn't know Steve, although he'd been to the festival apparently a number of times, and he clearly was somebody who enjoyed it, and he submitted the film. He didn't contact me or anything and say I'm an Eau Claire filmmaker, nothing like that. It was just submitted. It's this wonderful film that it has elements of horror in the movie. Like it deals with the disappearance of a child and how obviously, terror. I can't think of anything more terrifying than my child disappearing. I mean, that's the most terrifying thing in the world. But that said, other than just being horrific, there's an incredible emotional undercurrent in that film as well. I rewatched it last night because last night I delivered all the DCPs, but I have the original files they were made from. DCPs, for people who don't know, a digital cinema package, which is what cinemas screen these days instead of 35mm film. So we make the DCPs and then we deliver them. But I'm still watching them all to make sure there's no glitches, as one should. So I was watching Give again last night, and it still walloped me again the second time I watched it. Like, it was like, this is just an emotionally powerful movie. Steve's an incredibly talented filmmaker, and it also brings to mind things which I'm absolutely obsessed with. I talk about them all the time on MidWest, or not MidWest WeirdFest, I'm talking with, and there's a sense of, it doesn't mention the fairies, but any strange disappearance in the woods makes me think of the fairies, and it also, of course, or the fair folk, or the good neighbors, as I prefer to say, or the she. And it also made me think of David Paulides' Missing 411 tales, which often involve people just flat up and vanishing in the woods. And I haven't talked to Steve about that, but when I Q&A at the festival, I'm sure that'll be a topic that will come up. As you know, I won't be able to resist talking about that. Now, also playing when Give plays are the horror and sci-fi shorts this year. So I don't know if you want to go through all of them, or if we, as you can imagine, I think I'm super proud of the horror and sci-fi program every year at the festival. I mean, obviously it has what you would imagine, horror and science fiction in it, but the strength of the short films in the program this year, as in previous years, is it's feature film level. It's just short films, and in many ways far more interesting than the traditional feature films that you just might consume on Netflix or at the Cineplex. Just incredibly talented filmmakers telling very dark and strange, or speculative science fiction type stories. One of those directors is coming in. Alex Fofanoff is coming in for his film While Mortals Sleep, which is actually playing in both sessions because I didn't want him to have to compete with Steve. It's playing in the short session, and it's also playing before Steve Dayton's film Give. And that film's, I don't want to give too much of it away, but it has a very Lovecraftian underpinning to it, I think. And it's a film that makes you think, and it's a film that's quite confronting, which I love in my horror. But that whole session is just amazing. The short horror sci-fi, and then it's competing against Steve's film, both at 2 p.m. Whatever you choose, you're going to be in for a treat. So, audience wins either way. Should we move on to the 4 p.m.?
Did you want me to show Give?
Oh, I forgot we didn't play the trailer. I was
trailer?
too busy ranting about how much I love the film. Yes, please play the Give trailer. Please do. I love the film, and I just underestimated and let you play the trailer. Goodness gracious.
Gotta get it full screen here. And play.
Little star, how I wonder what you are. Up in the sky, you seem so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Daddy?
and Steve Dayton will be there to Q&A. I believe he'll probably have some of his cast and crew as well. And that's 2 p.m. at Micon Downtown Cinema next Saturday, March 5. So let's now roll straight into the 4 p.m.
I have
which is the world premiere. Oh, you want to show something else?
Well, there was another one that I have up already that is one of the good shorts. It's right after History of Metal and
They're all good.
Horror.
Every short's good.
There
isn't a bad short at the festival. So play what's the trailer?
Hang on, I'm trying to get this to like stop playing.
Okay.
Hang
Well,
on a
anyway, I
sec.
think Jen's going to play a trailer from a short that plays in the
Yeah.
horror and sci-fi. We've had different programs over the years. Like every year I've kind of mixed up the programming depending what comes in guides my sense of what the short program should be about. But we've always had a horror science fiction short section or shorts block from year one. That's the only thing that's never changed. Because there's so much incredible content being made by filmmakers in both those genres.
Then I shall begin. I'm Margot K. Juby, and for the past 2/3 of my life, I've been Gilles de Rais's representative on Earth. He was the first serial killer in recorded history, accused of heresy, black magic, child abduction, and murder. I just felt that Gilles de Rais was innocent. I could never shake that feeling off. So. I think they would rather have a hero debunked than discover that a villain was really a good guy.
Well, that documentary
didn't
by
really go
Gilles de
into it
Rais
too much.
actually plays. That documentary actually plays with the history of horror and metal. I thought you were going to play a short from the sci-fi horror section, but the Martyr is fantastic. It's about the dark supposed serial killer who I think was meant to have inspired the Bluebeard type fairy tale, and it's an incredible documentary. And like I said, a lot of shorts do play before features and documentary features and narrative features, and that one plays before the history of metal and horror at 12 p.m. It's in the Micon Downtown Cinema, Saturday, March the 5th at midday. So now shall we roll into Hair Trigger, which we have the world premiere of? I'm so delighted that we're world premiering this film at the festival. It's like I think I wrote the program notes. It's like if you could imagine Quentin Tarantino decided to do his take of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like this wonderful combination of crime caper come rural horror film, and it's set in the 90s, so it's a Tarantino type period piece in a way. That's certainly the period, when Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction came out, and it has that type of feel. And the cast are amazing. Some of the cast are going to be there, I believe, as well at the screening, and so is the director will be there as well, who is Stephen G. Werkel, will be at the festival, as will the DOP and editor Joe Greening. And as we'll see in the trailer, you'll see the lead actress Emily Carlson, who does just an incredible job, and another one of the lead males, Alex Garlick, who's amazing as well. So I can't wait to world premiere that film at MidWest WeirdFest at 4 p.m. next Saturday, March the 5th. Super exciting. Let's play the trailer, and it's a kick-ass film. The audience are going to just adore it. It's so much fun.
I have found my place in town. I have found my home. In my home I keep my love as close to me, my love.
So I looked over your case histories, and everybody's got criminal records. All needing a paycheck. All willing to ask as few questions as possible.
Whatever is happening right now, somebody is up to something. And I don't think authorities are involved. Maybe Godmother's ripping us off. Or maybe it's one of us.
Hey, who's on watch right now?
It should be sunny.
Yeah, no, he's not there.
I don't even really know who Godfather is or who Godmother.
Let's say you're in a situation where it's you or them, they kill you unless you kill them.
I'm not about to trust anyone.
If there's anyone here that I don't like, it's you.
We are not picking sides.
Right.
My love.
Man, it's such a great thrill ride. I love that there are people in the independent space who are able to take traditional genres and tropes we're used to and still do new and refreshing things with them. Like, I would rather see Head Trigger than any Hollywood movie. When I watched that movie, I was just like, this is just spectacular. Why isn't Hollywood doing stuff like this? It reminds me when Hollywood was doing cool stuff in the late 80s, early 90s, when people like Quentin Tarantino and Spike Lee and Steven Soderbergh were in their prime and were punching out these incredible movies. Anyway, you can still see those incredible movies at MidWest WeirdFest and meet the directors and the cast members. Can't do that at a Cineplex. Anyway, following, of course, we have another world premiere, Alien Abduction Answers. And we've had John Yost, the director, and he's the subject of his documentary as well. He and Whitley Strieber are probably front and center as the two most featured abductees in that documentary. And also Alana Rebellia is as well. She's this is how I found out about the movie. Most films I play at the festival are submitted through Film Freeway, but I found out about this festival when Alana, who's been coming to the festival, think since year 2, said, hey, check out this trailer. You might recognize a couple of faces in it. She sent me a trailer and I'm watching. I'm like, that's Whitley Strieber. This looks amazing. This is like, an alien abduction doco. And then Alana pops up on screen, a regular attendee of MidWest WeirdFest who's been coming with a season pass, I think, since year 2. Anyway, I got to see the film, and we were fortunate enough to be able to world premiere it this year. And if people are interested after seeing the trailer and want to know more about it, we talked to John Yost just a couple of weeks ago at MidWest WeirdFest quite extensively about the movie. Now, he'll be there to intro and Q&A. Alana will be there. Debs Buller will be there as well. She's another featured abductee, she does workings as well, like hypno-regression type workings and spiritual type workings. I think I think you're friends on Facebook with Debs Buller as well, right? I think we both are anyway. We're mutual friends with her. Maybe not. Maybe anyway. She features in the film extensively. She's great as well. All of these people have all these fascinating stories about their non-human encounters. So do we want to play a trailer for Alien Abduction Answers?
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of people
Why is it showing?
have claimed contact. That will change you. It changed me.
Lost in between two worlds and two dreams.
This was something that I kept buried for years. Strange things would happen. I didn't want anything to do with it anymore.
He came at me, and I fought for my life.
Ships started to pop up in the sky. And there's this bizarre disk of light. And it's moving across the sky very fast.
The experience is often very terrifying.
If I felt fear, I would crawl under my covers, hoping that it would go away, whatever it was.
I know that we were put in that craft. I knew I was going to go to another planet.
And the being was right next to my face.
He saw two shadow beings. That's when I felt like I was going to die.
I had a real encounter with something. Even if I had to live with the fear, is to know the truth, is to know.
I got to figure out how to get that Vimeo thing off the top. It's like, uh-oh.
Oh well, but what a fantastic!
I don't know how.
I think one of the most, maybe the greatest documentary on alien abduction I've ever seen. It's very broad. It looks at the history of the UFO phenomenon, and it looks at multiple abductees encounters. And what I liked about it was that the abduction experiences aren't homogenized in that. They're not all the same.
Yeah.
And when I've talked to abductees and had conversations with individual abductees, it's normally far stranger and far broader than when you read a UFO book from one specific abduction researcher who tends to want to put everything in the same box. Like they are they're so interesting because of their diversity and their strangeness. And I think that documentary captures that, along with along with the general, just sometimes terror, sometimes enlightenment of that these people go through. Fantastic. Anyway, 6 p.m. March 5, Micon Downtown Cinema, part of MidWest WeirdFest. World premiere. Don't miss Alien Abduction Answers. What did you think of the film? Have any comments?
Oh, I really liked it.
Ranting enough about movies.
No, I really liked it. I thought it was interesting how everybody had different stories, different encounters. I mean, yeah.
No, me too. Me too. Well, why don't do we want to roll straight into the 8 p.m. on the Saturday night? Reed's Point. Have you got that trailer ready to go? And we've got the director of that, of this wonderful horror film, Dale Fabrica from, he's coming in from Hollywood. And one of the female leads was actually born and raised in Wisconsin. I think she's LA based as well. Now, Madison Ekstrom, she's also coming in for the festival. So it'll be awesome to have an actress and a director there for Reed's Point. It's a film about the Jersey Devil, which is one of my favorite. I don't know if you can call it a cryptid. I know some people do. It's more of a strange, supernatural, paranormal phenomenon.
Yeah.
Perhaps all cryptids are strange, supernatural, paranormal phenomena. Anyway, I really dug this film. So do you want to hit the trailer? Then we'll chat a little more about it afterwards.
Sarah? How's the Jersey Devil article coming? There's so little on Kelsey's disappearance. I need to find out what happened to her.
You two kids ain't here trying to track down the Jersey Devil, are you?
The Reed family, the story goes they had 12 kids. When she got pregnant with the 13th, she cursed it, right?
I don't think you've seen Reed's Point either. That's another one you can enjoy on the big screen. Or have you? Have you watched it since? I know you have access to all the screeners.
Yeah, there's several that I need to watch beforehand. I've got them on my
Or
list.
watch there, enjoy them there. That's the thing for me. I mean, by the time I get to the festival, I've seen most of the features I'm playing at least 2 times, because I watch it when I program it, and then I watch it again when I check the DCP. But usually it's more than that. I've normally seen them like almost 3 times, and so it's like I don't necessarily feel the need to sit in there as much. But it's so much fun to sit in there when you haven't watched a movie multiple times at the festival. There's some I'll sit in for. I won't say which ones they are. I'm always busy doing stuff anyway. But there's a couple I plan on sitting in for this year, even though I've seen them, because I want to see them on the big screen. Reed's Point will be a lot of fun on the big screen. And come and see Dale and Madison as well, and chat to the director and one of the female leads. Again, it's an experience you can't get at the Megaplex. Plus, it's a film about the Jersey Devil. I don't really need to say much more than that. But then at 10 p.m., we're going into that territory again where audience members are going to have to make a choice again between 2 amazing films. What trailer do you have teed up? Oh, we'll talk about the one we don't have a trailer for, because it's so brand new. We don't even have a trailer for it. It's And the Boys Struck Gold, which I love playing. One of the things I love about MidWest WeirdFest is it just isn't just horror and paranormal and science fiction. I have the ability as a programmer, because of the nature of the fest, as our mission is to play anything offbeat or strange or weird. And this film reminded me of Wes Anderson in the early days, before the over stylization of the later Wes Anderson, who I still also love. It felt like Bottle Rocket, and it also felt like, have you ever seen the noir-esque high school drama? Who's the director of the movie Brick? I don't want to say it because I'll get his name wrong. He also directed one of the recent Star Wars movies, and amongst other things. Anyway, Brick was the film that this movie reminded me of as well. It's a mystery come, I don't know, buddy caper film. And the wonderful thing is we have the director, Jim Murtaugh, and we also have the producer, who they're both the stars. So the director, Jim Murtaugh, is also is the lead, and his co-star is Colin Van Hoek, I think you pronounce his name. And they're actually cousins in real life, Jim and Collie, and they're coming to the festival. And this is, I think, this might even be its first festival screening. It's very early on, and it's screening as well. But for people who are fans of that early kind of Wes Anderson quirkiness, or people who like a very strange mystery, and The Boy Struck Gold is the film for you. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. Like it's a little bit outside of what you normally might see at MidWest WeirdFest, but every year I like to do 1 or 2 films a little bit outside of what most of the program is, and this is definitely one of them. I love this film. I love it. This might be one of the ones I'm watching on the big screen, but don't tell anybody. I love this movie. Anyway, also the only hard thing is going to be is upstairs. Upstairs, we're playing It Hatched, which hits some of my favorite notes as well. It has Rosemary Baby-esque elements. Roman Polanski's film, one of the greatest horror films ever made, and one of my favorite films ever made. And it also deals with, I guess, the fair folk in a way, or if not the fair folk, those other older type creatures who dance with us and haunt us and interfere with us. And it's a combination of one of my favorite horror films and my idea or my interest in older belief systems about these coexistent beings. Anyway, let's screen It Hatched.
Okay.
The trailer, I mean, if you have it ready. So we're not going to actually screen It Hatched now. People have to come to MidWest WeirdFest to see that.
Do you remember that pile of furniture in the basement? Underneath it, there was a hole.
What do you mean hole?
Myra? What's going on?
We should have kids a long time ago. You know, to save love, to save relationships.
Merkilegt hvað þau eru ljúf og hjálpar vana eitthvað. Þessu börnin.
Honey? Are you okay?
What?
En úti bíður andlit á glugga. Þegar fjöllin fimbulhá fylla brjóstið
It hatched. That's it. After watching that
Yeah.
trailer, now I want to watch that on the big screen as well. I'll be running upstairs and downstairs between it and The Boy Struck
Yeah.
Gold. But yeah, a film from Iceland, which I think captures some of the strangeness of the beliefs there. Because in that part of the world, there's still we've talked about on the show before, there's still, like in parts of Ireland, a genuine belief in these older non-human entities that coexist with us. And that's obviously
Well,
a
that-
horrific take on that type of story.
Is it Iceland too? Right? Or
Yeah,
is
that
it-
isn't. Yeah, that's Iceland.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. A lot of those countries far up north, they still have an immediacy, their connection with the weird. Joe Fox just said some pretty great stuff. Thank you, Joe. You should make a trip. I think. Joe, where are you, Joe? I'm not going to say where you're from on air. You can message me, but I know you're not in Wisconsin. You should make a trip to Midwest WeirdFest. Hang out with me and Jen for the weekend. Watch some cool movies. Joe is one of our longest going listeners on Talking Weird, and I'm always very happy to know he's listening. He's one of my favorite audience members. Okay, let's go. Well, I guess now we're in Sunday. We just wrapped up Saturday. Now we're in the final day of the fest, March 6th, the Micon downtown. And so at midday, we start with Strange Snippets, which is it's kind of a catch-all short program, really. Shorts program 3. It has a lot of underground, experimental, just strange and out there films. I love all of the shorts programs this year. I always love them all. But there's something about Strange Snippets which is almost unmissable. The films in there. I don't know if did you want to get through them quickly on screen? I know we didn't do that with horror, but maybe we should just quickly bang through some of them, because I'll try to do this as quick as I can, looking at the program while you bring it up. I'll start with we have 2 music videos from Jeff Hilliard. We have Multitude, which starts this session, and we also have another one of his music videos, I think, plays before Nightcrawler. Anyway, he's hilarious. He plays this kind of over the top white trash figure, and his music videos are super well produced. He reminds me kind of like a Weird Al Yankovic, but with his own music, like you know, really comedic, but great tunes, great songs, great visuals. Then we have the short animation hybrid from Steve Lepkevic, who we've actually played. Steve's won Best Animated Film at the festival before. I think almost every festival we've had a short animation from Steve since year 1, and he does these nightmarish dreamscape, over the top, just psychedelic animations, and they're always disturbing and packed with all kinds of meaning, and you can almost just look at every frame and try to unpack it. Then we have a short film, Speed Cinema, which incidentally was actually shot partly in the Micon Cinema downtown, which I didn't know about till I was watching it when I was programming. Nobody had told me. It came through Film Freeway like most of the films do, and I'm like, that's the Micon. That's from Ben Krebik, I think you pronounce Ben's name. Ben is a filmmaker from Minneapolis. I think he was raised in Eau Claire, and he's coming to the festival, so he'll be there to introduce. It'll Help the Plants Grow, which is a spectacular experimental narrative film, which packs some real emotional punch as well, even though it's quite a strange film. Wonderful performances, though. I almost can't talk about it without giving away. Hunting Rabbits is an amazing animation by Kayla Keena. It takes its impetus from, I suppose, paintings of that medieval era. Like it's like a medieval painting come to life with these rabbits that go hunting, and there's all these kind of hybrid creatures, and it's a beautiful animation. I think it was financed by, I think Groening, the guy behind or Groening, however you pronounce his name, Groening, the guy behind The Simpsons, has a fund where he finances animation. I think that came out of that fund. One of my favorite short films of the festival, I shouldn't say I have favorites, but this film just blew me away, was My Dinner with Werner by Maverick Moore, which imagines a dinner where Werner Herzog is, and that's why I should have said My Dinner with Werner Herzog and Klaus Kinski, who have this notorious relationship in film, the great actor Klaus Kinski and the great director Werner Herzog. What happens at a dinner that they're both at, and it's over the top and just hilarious. And it uses, the dialogue is actually real quotes from both of the men. The things they say are real quotes from different situations, and it's so shit crazy when you watch it. It's hard to believe that these men actually said these things, but they did. Bare Naked Truths is a pilot for a series about naked models, and Amy Powell, the director and I believe writer of that, is coming in as well, and it's hilarious. It looks at what naked models are thinking while they're sitting up on the podium being drawn by art classes. Absolutely fantastic. Jason Pell's Pinprick is almost perfect for Midwest WeirdFest. It is this animation that looks at all of these different mythological and cryptid type stories, but in that kind of Midwest or rural America area. So it has, it has Mothman-esque type things and UFO landing type things and other monster type things. It's just, it's almost the perfect animation for Midwest WeirdFest, if there was such a thing. Pillow Fright's a wonderful, hilarious short film by Hunter Hopewell, a very talented director, that kind of goes off on a crazy imaginal journey of what happens, which I've experienced myself in life, when the man and the woman who cohabitate have a disagreement about pillows on beds and where they should be kept. You girls, you love putting pillows on beds, lots of pillows. I never quite understood that, but that's what this film is about. Dirt Bag is hilarious. It's about a man who's given a bag of dirt just randomly, and then he has to work out what to do with the dirt, and he becomes attached to it. Very strange movie. A Final Message deals with, it sounds tragic, but it's actually quite hilarious. A man receives an LP which has been pressed from his, I believe his dead wife or his dead fiance's ashes, and he gets to listen to the song that she wanted to send him. Every Thorn Has Its Day is a film from Brazil which imagines which has a man waking up with this enormous zit on his head, and then what he does, or who he gets to help him get rid of it. Biopets by Tyler Council imagines you being able to impregnate yourself and deliver into the world various hybrid animals. It sounds as over the top and as hilarious as it is. Monkey Love, Please Hold is the closing short film of the Shorts 3 session, and I absolutely adore the movie. It's about I really like I watched this movie and I just went, even though it's long, it's often hard to program longer short films at a film festival, as I often tell people. It's a 20+ minute short film, but it's about this reclusive man who I suppose becomes involved with a phone sex operator. But it's actually incredibly romantic and hilarious, and just I'd love to see the feature version. It just begs for a feature to be made from the director Greg Fox. So that's our Shorts 3 Strange Snippet session at Midwest WeirdFest this year. So there you go. So I guess now we're powering through. Now we have the 2 p.m. Have you got a Planet B234 trailer there to play? By the incredible director Keely Sheridan. Keely's also an actress who stars in The Last Frankenstein, which we'll be getting up to in a minute. And it didn't even ring. I programmed both of the films. It didn't occur to me that I obviously don't remember every actor's name in every film. I think I'd seen The Last Frankenstein first, and then when I programmed Planet B234, I didn't know that Keely, the star of one, was the director of the other. They were submitted by by different people. Planet B234 stars Jorge Luna, who I believe co-wrote, and it's an incredibly emotional lo-fi sci-fi journey about a man who has to deal with the long-distance relationship with his son, who he obviously doesn't have primary placement of, and he kind of develops this science fiction fantasy world in which to deal with the terrible difficulties of that long-distant father-son relationship. Incredibly moving film. Probably one of the greatest lo-fi sci-fi movies I've ever seen. I'm a big fan of the lo-fi sci-fi genre, meaning films with these big ideas, but they're shot at a very human level. They don't need the effects of a Star Wars or a 2001 Space Odyssey or a Star Trek to bring home the emotional resonance. And this film resonates hard. Let's play the trailer if you've got it there. Spectacular movie.
So tell us, what exactly did the rover find when it landed on planet B234?
This is one of the most important findings of our team. There is life on planet B234.
All of this looks exactly the same as Earth.
Astronauts have to endure a strenuous training process in order to be ready for the physical and mental challenges of space travel. The Cetus mission that will take astronauts to planet B234 is a special case. As the body starts experiencing microgravity in outer space, an astronaut's heart rate rises. The lack of gravity allows for a redistribution of fluids in the body, while also allowing the cardiovascular system to become weakened.
Papa. Where are you? Call me back.
Planet B234 is a lie, you coward.
Otto! Can you hear me?
Just a spectacular film. I was super moved by that movie when I saw it. There's a few films actually which deal with, maybe it's because I'm a parent and so these things resonate with me. But we mentioned Give before by Steve Dayton, that deals with, the importance of the child and the father relationship, and as does this movie. But Planet B234 is screening against another film at the festival, Brian Cunningham's The Fall of Usher. Did you get a trailer for The Fall of Usher?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk about it a little bit and then you can play. We actually played another film based on Poe's Usher book last year, Lady Usher. They're entirely different films. Like, it goes to show how you can run with an idea and they don't have to resemble each other at all. The Fall of Usher also, I think, draws on a number of Poe's stories as its influence. I was watching it and I'm really enjoying it, as I enjoy Poe adaptations. But my goodness, was I hammered by some of the twists in the movie. Like, not just hammered, I'm somebody who's pretty, I'll walk into a movie like Shutter Island by Scorsese and I'll know in the first 5 minutes what the twist is. I remember back in the day and just being bored waiting for the twist to appear in the denouement. So I pride myself in usually knowing. I mean, I'm a film programmer. I see so much film, it's hard to get me with a twist. This movie not only pounded me like surprise psychologically, and you could look back and you could see totally how it made sense. I shouldn't be saying that, everybody will be looking for them now, but there's twists and twists in this movie, as well as probably one of the most potent emotional twists I've ever seen in any movie with a twist. So not just a psychological, oh, you got me, like just pounded by this movie. To be honest, it beat the bejeebers out of me. Like, at the end, I was actually like harrowed. Just an incredible movie. So let's play the trailer for The Fall of Usher.
Let me call myself, for the moment, William. I'm a storyteller by nature and a liar in my freer times. No part of what I convey is true, but every part is truthful. You will come to despise me, and your revulsion will be rightly warranted, I swear it. Now, however, by way of staying execution and mitigating these accusations against me, I offer this sad history.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest Edgar Allan Poe adaptations I've ever seen. And that says a lot because I'm a big fan of a lot of Poe adaptations from Corman on. Just an amazing film. I mean, it's hard. I'm not even sure how I can advise you whether to watch Planet B234 or Fall of Usher at the festival. I don't know whether you should love me or hate me for putting together such a wonderful program, making you choose. But anyway, I'm being conceited and facetious intentionally. But yeah, they're both spectacular films. Both just incredible. So from there, we should talk about the 3 p.m., which screens immediately after and in the same, the two cinemas, the same, the downstairs cinema with Planet B234. And that's shorts for Fairies and the Wolf. I've been on a real fairy kick lately. I don't even like to use the term fairy. I don't like to use the term fae either because it's overused. I do like to say the good neighbors or the fair folk or the other crowd or the she. The idea that there's been another species or another intelligence which has interacted with us for forever, since time immemorial. Other creatures which we've recognized culturally, certainly the Gaelic speaking people recognize them. We've talked about this an awful lot, I think, on MidWest WeirdFest. This film, this short film program encapsulates it. So I don't know if we want to just very quickly go over that. Fairies and the Wolf, because the final film is actually a spectacular werewolf type film. So it kicks off with The Homework Fairy, which is just an adorable little film about two girls doing their homework, and then, as it suggests, a homework fairy comes to help them, and how they respond to that. Now, I haven't programmed a film by myself at a festival since I started A Night of Horror in 2006, and then we ran in 2007 in Sydney, Australia, where I played a film called Foresta Rossa, which, funnily enough, was kind of a fairy tale as well. Anyway, I programmed a short film. It's not in competition, so it's not at any risk of winning any prizes, or I'm not being totally nepotistic, but it fit this program which I put together. It's a short I made last Halloween called Halloween Fairy Tale, which is basically me talking about the fairies and their major part in traditional Halloween beliefs, and showing a family heirloom of my own that might physically prove the existence of the fairies. Following that is an incredible film from Ireland, which perhaps is more rife with fairy or fair folk beliefs than anywhere else in the world, called Changeling. And it's about, as the title suggests, a couple who their baby might have been taken by the fair folk, and a changeling might have been left in its place. Wonderful movie, very, very potent movie. After that is Good Neighbors, which again, it references obviously the fair folk, although it's an adaptation, I guess, of the Shoemaker and the Elves fairy tale, which is well known about. People who probably know that tale know that the elves come out at night and do the shoemaker's work, and this is a kind of a modern spin on that tale. Very powerful movie. The end is another one of those endings that hammers you, which I always enjoy. And then there's Fishwife by Beth Park from the UK, and it's set in 18th century Britain when a lonely woman is visited by a strange man who seems to be taking an unusual interest in her menstrual cycle, and then what follows from there. You should never let things into your door late at night. I think anybody who's cognizant of fairy lore is aware of that. And then closing out that program, I'm not even sure how you pronounce it, Course Sui, I guess, by Quentin Richard from France. And it's about a man who is a farmer in France, and his sheep are being killed by some mysterious beast. And as his paranoia grows and his daughter comes home, how they deal with this external or perhaps internal menace. A wonderful program. I love that program, and not just because I programmed a short of my own from it. Anybody who likes Tales of the Fair Folk will really dig that program. And how often do you get to put together a program just about the fair folk in a film festival? Almost never. Anyway, I did it this year, so that was a lot of fun. And then we're up to speed now, where there's no films playing against each other, and we roll into at 4:30 p.m. The Girl in the Straw Hat. Now, did you find a trailer for this? Just so I know before I start talking.
Yeah.
Rambling on. What a film this movie is. My goodness. It's by the director David James Schultz. It's produced by James Sharp, who also stars in it. And you'll see him. He's the bald or the shaven-headed psychiatrist come cult leader in this movie. It's a film. I was talking earlier about films that really evoke an earlier period in cinema. This movie could have been made in the 1970s. It's not trying to be set in the 1970s, but it has that feel of a film from the past. And it's about a couple who, the man has had some type of existential or psychological crisis, and they go to a self-help cult retreat, and what happens to him there. And it's got all of these wonderful, blendings, which are things we talk about on Talking Weird all the time, about what's psychological and what's actually supernatural and what's real and what's not real. Anyway, just a movie. When I watched it, I can't even say how delighted I was that it had been submitted to the festival. It's one of those films, I don't even know, I was 10 minutes in and I'm like, this film's going to screen. It's so good. Anyway, let's play the trailer. Incredible movie.
Tell me what's been going on with Thomas.
For a while now, Tommy hasn't really been himself.
Do you feel that? You are standing at the threshold of bliss. Thank you for purchasing the Star Level Self-Help Package, and welcome to Retreat Cabin number 2, your new home base for the next week.
Welcome. Oh my goodness. I see a lot of familiar faces. And some new ones, too.
Over the next week, you'll uncover the secrets of Aletheia. But right now, rest up. Remember, distraction is the enemy of transcendence, and I'll be watching over you every step of the way. Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life. Happy healing. Dr. David Tilquin.
I think we should leave.
Children, lock the chain.
When did you stop taking your medication?
That's really between me and the doctor.
The doctor. There's a lot going on between him and you, isn't there? Tommy, you're being brainwashed by a bunch of fucking weirdos.
You're not fucking weirdos. You have any idea what leaving right now would do to me? After all the work I've been doing, the one fucking time that I feel like I'm alive.
I need you to trust me.
Tommy!
The director of that film, David James Schultz, he's a better director than almost anybody you're going to see from a studio Hollywood film. And I guarantee that movie looks like $1 million, but I know independent filmmaking, that did not cost them a fortune to make because they were smart. I can just tell by what I know about that film. It's an incredible movie. You're not going to see a psychological / supernatural thriller like that ever come out of a studio anymore, at least until there's a change again, like we had that great scene change I was talking about in the late 80s, early 90s. An incredible movie. Yeah. I mean, I'm serious. You're not going to see a better movie than that on a cinema screen anywhere in America at the moment by any Hollywood film. An awesome film. Anyway, I can't rant about it more than that. And that's sincere. I watched that movie and I'm like, what on earth? This film should be like opening on, 500 cinema screens. It shouldn't be playing at, just little genre festivals. This is an incredible motion picture, and it is. It's an amazing film. Amazing performances, amazing direction, amazing set design, amazing cinematography, just a beautiful, clever film. So people should come and see that movie if they're anywhere in the Eau Claire area. Even if you're not, come and hang out with Jen and I at the festival. Amongst all the filmmakers and actors and everybody else, it's worth spending a weekend of your life in Eau Claire. Be one of the greatest events you've ever been to. I'm being somewhat considered there, but it's a heck of an event. MidWest WeirdFest is a lot of fun. Okay, so let's roll on to, we're almost at the end of the festival now. Now we're at the last Frankenstein. And as I mentioned before, the director of Planet B234, Keely Sheridan, is one of the female leads in this movie, and she's just phenomenal in this film. Absolutely incredible. As all of the performances, it's a great ensemble cast. And as the title suggests, it's obviously, not a reimagining, because it's not retelling the original Frankenstein movie. It's imagining that a descendant of the original Dr. Frankenstein is still operating today. And it's brutal, and the physical special effects are fantastic. The story's clever. It grabbed me by the throat. It was another one of those. We get a lot of horror films submitted to MidWest WeirdFest. We probably had, I don't even know how many horror films, hundreds of horror films submitted this year. And The Last Frankenstein grabbed me by the throat from the very beginning. I knew this had a home at the festival. Especially if you're a fan of the Frankenstein monster and you want to see what the Frankenstein family is still up to today. So anyway, let's play the trailer for The Last Frankenstein, directed by David Weaver, by the way, another incredibly talented director. These people need to be given Hollywood budgets.
We don't know that'll happen, and we have to move on.
Someone should try it. Make it work. Where I am now, I don't know if it would still be possible. I'm getting older, and I'm not accomplishing anything I need to.
Do what you know you should do.
Jason, focus on your studies, working with your father, and don't let anything distract you.
As I was just saying, rising soon. It's just fantastic. It's another one of those films that doesn't feel like, it feels like a film out of its time almost. It feels like something that could have been. been made at a more vigorous time of filmmaking. And there still is vigor in filmmaking. It's just all in this independent space. I'm so bored. I did a podcast the other day on the pop culture podcast. I think it's called. Really fun. I'd be a guest on that show. But I was complaining there on how boring most movies are now. I just can't handle another Avengers movie or another Spider. And I was a fanboy. I loved all these superhero movies initially. But it's just like Hollywood's ran out of any innovation. But it's happening at the indie level. I'd rather watch almost any film submitted, forget about what we're screening, any film submitted to MidWest WeirdFest than go to the Cineplex today. I'm so exhausted. Anyway, speaking about exhausted, we don't want to over-exhaust our audience. We're already running almost 30 minutes longer than usual, but we're at the very last film, maybe lucky last or maybe best till last, and that is the film Lunamancer. And both the writer-director, Noah Mushi, and the writer-producer, Matt Patterson, and I kind of said Noah's name fast. I don't know, actually. I'm going to have to find out again before the Q&As if it's Noah Mushi or Noah Musi. It's Mucci. Anyway. An incredibly talented director. I think his background was being a director of photography. This is his feature film debut. And Lunamancer, I think I wrote in the program notes or in one of the press releases that went out that it kind of reminded me of a film that occupied the space between The Matrix and Taxi Driver. Like it imagines this realm which is kind of controlled by the titular character, the Lunamancer, where reality can be bent and shaped by him. But he's the key antagonist. The key protagonist is trying to find out what happened to his sister, and the sister seems to have been taken by the Lunamancer. And then he becomes, it's Taxi Driver-esque. He has crowbars taped to his forearms instead of a handgun, and he goes out in this kind of, this kind of rampage to get his sister back. It's a fantastic movie. It's and again lo-fi sci-fi, like I was talking about Planet B234. You can sometimes do so much more with less, where the landscape of where they shot it, this kind of decaying urban landscape, and the lead character moving through it trying to find his sister just evokes all these kind of potent feelings. Anyway, let's play the trailer. If you've got Lunamancer there, I'm assuming you do.
What are you doing here?
I'm here to find my sister.
Say you find her. Then what?
I bring her back.
What are you doing back in town?
Why do you have my car?
It's good to see you. I felt Sue go through something. It's really painful.
Leave the city.
You either embrace who you are or you fight it. Everybody's something.
I love that freaking movie. That was another film I got. It really drew me in very quickly, and I'm like, that film's playing at the festival. But yeah, that's the closing night film, and it's fresh on. It's only played one festival before us. It played the Philip K. Dick or the PK Dick Film Festival, and there it won the major award of the festival, the best PK Dick film. So it has that type of PK Dickian reality where you can't quite tell what's real and what's not real sometimes, where reality blurs with something else. Anyway, an amazing film. The director and the producer will both be there. And then following that, we'll all be drinking and partying. And if you come along, you get to hang out with the filmmakers and us. I'm sure the filmmakers are probably more of a draw, although Jen's a big draw. Jen's probably far more entertaining in person than I am. I'm like the wallflower at parties. I'm verbose on this film, but I just sit in the corner wanting to be left alone whenever there's a social event.
No.
Well, that's about the wrap up of the festival. Thank you for listening, everybody. Oh, just quickly, I don't know, did we hit every short filmmaker who's coming? Just let me have a look, because I don't think we did. We mentioned While Mortals Sleep, Alex Fofanoff is coming. His film is playing as part of the science fiction and horror short session at 12 p.m. on the Saturday as well, or 2 p.m. on the Saturday rather, as well as Before Give. Steve Dayton's feature, and Steve will be there. Monsters Are Real on Huffstarter. We mentioned his short film plays before Woodland Grey, which is 8 p.m. on the Friday night, March 4 at Micon Downtown Cinema. We mentioned Amy Powell, Bare Naked Truths. Her film plays as part of the Strange Snippets short program. We also mentioned Ben Krebich, Speed Cinema, his film plays. The Foot Fetish Show, I don't know if we mentioned that. Randy Zuniga's film, Hilarious, and Glory plays before Chad Farron's film Nightcaller, which plays at 10 p.m. on the Friday, March 4th. And I don't think I mentioned that singer-songwriter, director Lucas Alexander Kermis is coming to the festival. His wonderful music video, 1000 it's called, which he appears in playing a piano. It's a beautiful music video. Screens before And the Boys Struck Gold, which is on Saturday night at 10 p.m. March 5th. Yeah, Saturday, March 5th. That's right. Trying to keep all these dates straight. Well, that's that. Yeah. Thank you for driving the ship, getting us through the festival tonight, baby.
I tried.
You did good. Have anything to add after I rambled for the last hour and a half?
I'm just ready to get to the fest, get away and have a little vacay. So
yeah, you and me both. Well, it's good because it is a bit of a vacation, but it's a working vacation, but it's still wonderful to mix with all the filmmakers and to watch some of the films on the big screen. And I encourage anybody. I know some of you are, various parts of the world and the country and can't get there, but if you can, think about coming to MidWest WeirdFest. It's a heck of a lot of fun. And if you don't, remember these films, and if they play at a festival near you, seek them out there. Or if you see they come to a streaming platform or to a cinema, seek them out there, because they're all incredible. I'm incredibly, I keep saying incredible. I'm like Mr. Incredible. They're fantastic movies, and I'm delighted that we have them all at MidWest WeirdFest this year. The 6th annual, March 4 to 6, Micon Downtown Cinema, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Well, if that's all, baby, I guess I'll sign out and tell you and everybody else to keep it weird.
Keep it weird.
Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're interested in checking out more episodes, you can find us at talkingweird.com. If you haven't already, please like the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Talking Weird Podcast. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to Talking Weird. We're available on most podcast platforms and YouTube. And if you do enjoy the show, please leave us a review. Dean and I would really appreciate it. Until then, stay safe and keep it weird.